Actor Samuel L. Jackson first grabbed moviegoers' attention with the 1991 Spike Lee film Jungle Fever. Numerous roles followed, but after playing the philosophizing hitman Jules in Pulp Fiction, Jackson did not only gain attention, he earned an Academy Award nomination and a prominent place in popular culture. His latest film is called The Negotiator. Here is the trailer.
Lieutenant Danny Roman is the best hostage negotiator in Chicago.
He's in.
After 6 hours, hostage negotiator Danny Roman risked his own life, disarming the hostage taker.
In a perfect world, that would be enough.
That was search warrant. Hold it.
But in this department,
You know me. I'm being set up.
an honest cop is an easy target. Now, to clear his name, he's taking the police hostage
I'm not going to jail today.
and demanding his own negotiator.
I don't want to talk to anyone else but Chris Sabian. Now, I would consider it. No. Never say no to a hostage taker. It's in the manual.
Go ahead, Danny.
Academy Award nominee Samuel L. Jackson
I know the rules of engagement, so don't.
Academy Award winner Kevin Spacey,
Relax. I'll call back. Tell him I'm on my way up.
I know you don't think I'm innocent, so don't tell me I want to do everything I can to help you get out of here.
You want something. From me.
I still have hostages.
What was that, a threat? Did you just threaten me?
Chief, they have a shot. We can end it right here. You want my blood? Why should I get in their way, huh? Take my blood! Take it! Make me believe why I should deal with you ever again.
They want me dead.
We're going in. Full breach.
Sending you to one. Kill the right, you to one. Initiate full breach. Shot on sight.
now, if they can trust each other,
You were wrong about me.
two men trained in the art of negotiation
We're surrounded by a room of people who want to go in there and kill him.
I wonder why that is. You don't know this man, Lieutenant.
are about to make
Take the subject out. Do not take that shot.
a very
Terminate this breach. Come on. Pull the trigger.
unusual offer.
You are not in control.
Now you're going to have to deal with both of us.
Joining me now, my friend Samuel L. Jackson. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
to
Always
have
a
you.
pleasure to be here.
Tell me about this Negotiator. What is this about?
It's
This
a
is you and
film-
Mr. Spacey and others.
Yes.
J.T. Walsh, we'll talk about in a minute.
Oh, yes. It's a film about a Chicago hostage negotiator who's framed for a crime, and he ends up taking part of the Internal Affairs Department hostage. And because he knows all the tricks, they can't quite get in the building to get him. So he sends for another hostage negotiator to get him out, who has different tactics than his own, played by Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. You two work well together?
Oh, yeah. We wanted to do this film because we realized on A Time to Kill that we didn't have enough screen time together. And we had so much fun doing that little bit there in the courtroom that we decided we wanted to do something else. And this film came up. Originally, this was a Sylvester Stallone project.
Yeah.
And when I read it the first time, I guess I was reading for some other character, and then he decided he didn't want to do it, and they asked me if I would like to.
So you were playing the role originally intended for Stallone?
Yes. And then they brought up Kevin's name, and Kevin read it. He liked it. So I ran into him at a party at Ed LaMotto's house during the Academy
An
Awards
agent
season.
for ICM or
Yes,
somebody?
the year he won. And I said, so Kevin, about The Negotiator. He says, well, I'll do it if you do it. I said, well, I'll do it if you do it.
Done deal.
Done deal. And have your people call my people. And we'll have our people call their people. And it was
Isn't the movie business
yeah,
fun?
it was a great thing.
Yeah, and it's a good film, you think?
Yes, yes. The film is playing very well to preview audiences. I've seen it. It's very tight. It's taut. It's together. And the wonderful thing is we did the film because it's about two guys who use words. It's about negotiators.
Yeah.
And Kevin uses words well. I use words well. And they kept all that stuff. Even though the film became a bit more of an actioner as we started to do it, they kept all that dialogue that we share. And it keeps audiences riveted.
Now, do you enlarge on the script in this, or is it mainly sticking to the script?
We had an extensive rehearsal period for this film. So as we rehearsed, we fixed words, we changed words, and the writers were always around. So when something seemed as though it wasn't going to work, we sat down with them, we figured out ways to make the words fit the scenarios, and we got it done.
You know, it amazes me how much, this is one of the few things I have learned about the movie business, is that it's very hard to tell who's written a screenplay.
Yes. Yes, it is.
No matter whose name is on the credits.
That's right.
It's hard. I mean, you see credits like 7 people would be listed as a screenwriter.
Well, you got the person with the original idea, then you got the original screenwriter, then you got the person who did the polish, and then you have the people who polished the polish, and then you have the people that are around the set on a day-to-day basis that change the lines as they come in.
Why can't one person do this? What's so difficult about writing a screenplay? I mean, if you're gifted, assuming you're a good writer, I'm not suggesting anybody can do it, but assuming you are a pro and you're good.
Well, things happen. Screenplays change, locations change after scripts have been written, so that city has to change. You have to fit things for that city. You have to fit things for the particular actors. A lot of times, especially in my case, I get roles that I don't view as race-specific, but they have been written as a Caucasian male.
Right. A lot of times.
Yeah. And I end up with that role. So the things that are coming out of his mouth aren't things that would come out of my mouth or out of an African-American's mouth, so they have to be changed in that way, even though I never get a screenwriting credit for doing that. The only person...
Well, let's think about that in our next contract.
Yeah, I am, yeah. The only person that I know that has scripts that we actually don't veer from that far is Quentin. You know, Quentin
Tarantino will not allow
writes
you to...
dialogue. Well, he allows us to change things in rehearsal. And he'll also say, well, let's just do it the way I wrote it one time, so we'll see how that comes out. And then we'll do it the way that we've, worked on it. And a lot of times the way that we changed it ends up on screen.
It does end up on screen.
Sure.
Yeah. When you think about the kind of movies that you do, and you say that many of them are not race-specific, I mean, that's a credit to you, and that's a credit to somebody, isn't it? I mean, they come in here and they'll say, look, we're not looking for a African-American man, we're looking for a good actor.
Well...
am I giving too much credit to these boys and girls?
Yes, sometimes. It's my creative team who knows that I'm willing to do any and everything to get a role that I like. They send me scripts that they don't care who it's written for. Yeah. Even sometimes the character's a woman, and I'll read it and say, well, I'd rather be this character. As long as the character's not having a love scene with the other guy, I can figure out a way to make that work. And they just send me anything. They don't look for things that are African-American.
Would you do that if you love the character and he happened to be gay?
I've read scripts that had gay love scenes in them that I thought were very fascinating and interesting. One of them was a little too dark, a script by Boaz Yakin that for some reason no studio will touch. It's a fascinating story, but nobody will touch it.
Why not? Just thinks that it will not play in America.
It's too dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think it's too dark.
You would have done it?
Oh, of course, yeah, in a heartbeat.
Do you learn from working with guys like Kevin Spacey? Or are you at the point now where there's not a whole lot?
No, there's always stuff to learn. You watch how they work in juxtaposition to how you work. It's like watching De Niro work on Jackie Brown. It's just amazing to me. I used to sit there and watch him and wonder what he was doing. And then when I saw the film, I knew what he was doing.
But you didn't see it at the time?
No. No, it's all so subtle. It's almost like an underplaying that you can't quite tell. And he has a presence there that's very much a part of the scene. And he knows how to disappear. Or I do it a different way from Bob or Kevin, but I know how to disappear even though I'm on screen so that someone else can be seen. Or take a passive position in terms of body posture so that an audience will focus their attention on to the person that's actually talking.
A passive position in terms of body posture?
Yeah.
Meaning what?
Things you learn in the theater. If you're talking to me and I want the audience to pay attention to you while you're talking to me, then I'll do this.
If I want them to pay attention to you or to me?
If I want an audience to pay attention to you, then I'll lean forward.
See, now I do that instinctively.
Right. Yeah. But sometimes you guide an audience to the person that
on the stage
you want.
But so if you're leaning in like you're listening, then they want to be listening to that person
But
too.
you also put yourself lower so that you're in a passive position. You're in a dominant up position. Yeah. You don't listen this way. Yeah. You listen this way so that they look up to the person.
Now, did you learn that on your own, or did you learn that from acting lessons from?
In the theater. You either hold your foot upstage and get lower or behind the person that's speaking and lean toward them so that an audience knows, oh, that's the person you focus on. And when it's your turn, you raise your body.
Yeah. So you're saying, I am now.
Yes, I am here now.
Right.
And, you know, it's just little things like that.
But a lot of little things.
Yeah.
You amaze me because of the different characters and how you can get into the characters. I mean, where do you think you need to grow? Where is it Samuel L. Jackson says, man, I could be better at this?
Well, I could be better at the total craft. It's just a matter of finding the right roles that allow me to explore the things that I haven't tapped into.
So the role would give you an opportunity to expand some aspect of yourself.
Definitely.
That may be embryonic now.
Exactly. I haven't done a lot of roles that allow me to be fearful. I'm always doing very strong characters.
Right. And why is that?
Those are the scripts that I read.
They don't give you fearful characters.
They just come by me, and that happens. The character that I portrayed in Die Hard had fear, but he was an audience member in a Die Hard movie, which is totally camp. But my job was to be an audience member reacting like an audience member would to the things that John McClane does. So I screamed loud and I acted fearful in another kind of way. But to have real fear where there's a threat to, say, my family or to myself, that I want to live and do all those other things, I haven't had a chance to explore those things yet. So I need to find roles that will allow me to do that, or roles that, say, a romantic comedy. Right. I have a sense of humor, but I haven't found the right romantic comedy that will allow me to interact with a woman in that way and still be humorous and engaging to an audience.
Have you gotten a bad review in anything you've done in the last 3 or 4 years?
No.
I mean, I can't remember anywhere I've read something where they said the movie was okay and Jackson was lousy. Generally, you'll see occasionally the movie didn't work best.
Yes.
But Samuel L. Jackson was terrific.
Well, I try very hard to embody my characters with something that's very human, number one, and to invest the reality of the situations and try to accomplish goals as they show up and not an overall goal for the film. And I think that's what works for me more than anything else.
Yeah. Are you happy with where you are in terms of this business?
In a way. I mean, I know there are things that could improve in terms of how I get paid, number one, and the perception of who I am. This film, I guess, is another way. Here we go again with, okay, your name is first. So if this film doesn't open, like 187 didn't open last year, then that means that I'm not a box office star.
Right.
I'm just this very popular actor that people love to go and see.
Right.
So all of a sudden, I'm being tested again. So if 187 opens and it's number one that weekend and sustains itself throughout 3 to 4 weekends, not as number one, but in the top 10, then I become a different kind of actor in somebody's perception. But to me, I will still be the same guy.
Now, if this opens well with you and Kevin, then it does something to you. It enhances your bankability.
Yes.
It puts you somewhere else in the marquee.
Exactly. Yeah. But that doesn't change who I am as an actor. I will still give the same kind of performances. I will still invest myself in the characters the same way that I always have.
Somebody comes along and says to you, listen, I want you to play Hamlet on stage in New York at Lincoln Center. What do you say?
I'd say, well, let me look at how many things I have lined up cinematically before I get to that. Because Hamlet's not one of the things that I've always wanted to do.
How about Othello? No.
I don't like that.
How about
very much.
Chekhov? How about Ibsen? How about any...
Well,
how about Tennessee Williams?
Well, let's say...
How about Streetcar?
Let's say it's a new August Wilson play with a wonderful character.
You might do that.
I might do that.
Is that because August Wilson writes about the black experience?
That's because August Wilson writes characters that are interesting to me. I was in the original company of The Piano Lesson and then 2 Trains Running. And contemporary plays tend to attract my attention more than period pieces. For instance, I was just offered a role in Titus Andronicus. That's going to be a film.
You know who's doing that? Isn't Julie Taymor doing that?
Yes, she is.
Right.
But
of course you know who's doing it.
Yes, but because I haven't worked since January, there are things that I have to do now to catch up to whatever my financial goal is for the year. And that's not one of them.
What is your financial goal
come
for
on,
the year?
I actually can't make less money this year than I made last year.
Of course you can't.
I cannot. My wife is still shopping the same way she shopped last year, even though I haven't worked as much as I worked last year. So I have to make as much money as I did last year first before I can actually entertain thoughts of doing something that will satisfy me in an artistic vein totally. Now, the things that I'm going to do this year, or that I am negotiating to do, are things that are very interesting to me, character-wise. And they just so happen that they will quantitatively make up for the time that I haven't done this year doing all the films that I've done. So I can do that, and maybe at the end of the year I will be able to make an artistic choice, or I can finally get one of the projects that I've optioned up, because I actually have 2 scripts from 2 of the things that I bought last year now.
J.T. Walsh died, 54 years old, in this movie with you. Billy Bob Thornton was here talking about him because he was so huge in Sling Blade.
Yeah, and JT was such a wonderful and full human being. He gave so much on the job, and he gave away from the job. JT was a very learned man who spoke, very well of his experiences, the things that he read during his life. He went to school in Ireland and went to, had this Catholic upbringing, and he was just so full of everything. And he has the kind of cinematic life that I'm sure a lot of people will probably say, J.T. Walsh, J.T.
Don't know
Walsh.
the name.
And then they see his face and they'll go, oh my God.
Because they realize how many places they've
How
seen him.
many places. He's in so many things. In fact, we did a film years ago when I first got to Hollywood. It's just such a junk film, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon, which was a spoof of the Lethal Weapon thing. And he came in and did like a day on that film, and that's when we met. Yeah. And from that time on, he and I talked. He actually lived in my neighborhood. Such a wonderful man. Great loss to Hollywood
and so young.
movie-going audience.
Where's my cap? You gave me a cap. Where?
You put it right there.
Oh, here it is.
There it is.
All right. Listen, thank you very much. This is Samuel Jackson Celebrity Golf Classic, which I was not invited to, but that's okay. No. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you,
You raised
sir.
money for what charity?
The Catalog for Giving here in New York, and the children's charities on the island of Bermuda.
How's your handicap?
Down to a 10 now.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Moving down, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Much success with The Negotiator.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.